Okay, guys, you are ready? Should we start? Okay, now look at the first question. Ali requested Sam to sell his car. He specifically told Sam not to sell the car below 30,000. Sam sold it to Jane for 25,000. Ali is not happy about it and wants Sam to pay the difference. Advised Ali whether he could do so. In what situation, can Sam avoid liability? So if you look at this question over here, you can see that Ali is the principal. Sam is the agent. Principal told the agent, to sell the car for 30,000. But the agent sold it for 25,000. Alright, to Jane. Now over here, has the agent done something wrong? Did the agent do something wrong? The agent was told to sell the car for 30,000. The agent sold it for 25,000. Did the agent do something wrong? Yes. He sold the car at a lower price. So therefore, the agent will be personally liable for the difference of 5,000. Okay? So the agent will need to compensate the principal for the price difference. Alright, so the agent will need to compensate the principal for the amount of 5,000 for selling the car below the amount requested. Now, in what situation can Sam, the agent, avoid liability? The agent can avoid liability if, what happens? Yes, if the principal rectifies the transaction. Alright? Rectify is stated in section 149. For rectification to be effective, certain conditions must be fulfilled. Among other things, the agent must have done something unauthorized. The agent must have acted as an agent. The principal must exist. The principal must have contractual capacity. The principal must have full knowledge of the material facts. The principal must rectify the whole transaction. And the rectification must not injure the third party. Only if these conditions are fulfilled will rectification be allowed, and if rectification is effective, the agent can avoid liability. Alright? So if you want a simple answer, this is a simple answer. In what situation can Sam avoid liability? Sam has exceeded his authority. He did not follow the principal's instructions. Thus, he is personally liable to pay the price difference. He can avoid liability if the principal rectifies the transaction. And for rectification to be effective, the following conditions must be fulfilled. If rectification is effective, Sam can avoid liability. Alright, easy as that. If you're done with this question, look at the second question. Sam works as a security guard at a boutique in Bangsa. Last week, Sam was about to go back home around 10 p.m. and he realized there was a thick smoke coming out of the boutique. Without thinking, he broke a very expensive window worth 30,000 ringgit to climb into the boutique to put out the fire. Alice, the owner of the boutique, was at home in PJ at that time. She now demands that Sam pays the cost for damaging the window. Advise Sam. Now, the only way how Sam can avoid liability is if he can show that when he broke the window, okay, he broke the window with permission. How did he get permission? He got permission because he was Alice's agent. How did he become an agent? He became agent because of an emergency situation. Alright? And if he can prove there is agency by necessity, he can avoid liability. So what are the three conditions over here? Now the three conditions over here are number one. Okay, Sam acted in good faith. This condition is fulfilled because there's nothing to show otherwise. Condition number two, whatever he did so to prevent further losses. Whatever Sam did, he did so to prevent further losses for Alice. This condition is also fulfilled. And the last condition over here is that, okay, Sam couldn't contact Alice. What's the problem with this? If you look at the facts over here, he did not even try to contact Alice. Alright, over here, without thinking, he broke the window. So in other words, he did not even try to contact Alice. So in other words, the third condition is not fulfilled. Alright, so since the third condition is not fulfilled, there is no agency by necessity. And since there is no agency by necessity, okay, Sam will be liable to Alice for breaking the window without permission. Do you understand? Alright, so if you want a simple answer, this is a simple answer over here. Let me share the answer with you. Now, the issue here is, can Sam avoid liability? Under law application, you can say the only way how Sam can avoid liability is if he can show that when he broke the window, he did so with permission. And he got permission because he was Alice's agent. He became Alice's agent through agency by necessity. Section 142 says that. For there to be agency by necessity, three conditions must be fulfilled. Condition number one, okay, Sam's action is necessary in order to prevent further losses to Alice. On the facts, this condition is fulfilled. Condition number two, it was impossible, okay, impossible for the agent to get the principal's instructions. On the facts, he did not even try to contact Alice. And condition number three, okay, he acted in good faith. This condition is fulfilled. Anyway, since the second condition is not fulfilled, there is no agency by necessity. And since there is no agency by necessity, Sam will be liable to Alice for breaking the window. Okay? You understand this? Alright, okay, if you're done with this, let's look at the next question. This is question number 3. Patrick appoints Emily as his agent to sell the painting and under no circumstances to sell the painting below 10,000. Explain the legal position of the parties if Alice sells the painting to Gary for 7,500. Now, when this question is concerned, the answer is exactly the same as question number 1. Alright, so this question, the answer is exactly the same as question number 1. I.e., okay, Emily did not follow Patrick's instructions. She sold the painting at a lower price. She will be personally liable. Section 164 says that. The only way she can avoid liability is if Patrick rectifies the transaction. Rectification is stated in section 149. For rectification to be effective, certain conditions must be fulfilled. As long as those conditions are fulfilled, there is a rectification. And if there is rectification, Emily can avoid liability. Alright, so this question, the answer is exactly the same as the first one. Okay? Okay, if you're done with this, okay, I want you to refer to question number 4. And question number 4 is the last question we are doing under agency. So please read through the question. Okay, now look at this question. One day, a stranger walks into Barry's shop. One day, a stranger walks into Barry's shop that sells shoes. He starts advising the potential customers about the shoes which are sold in Barry's shop. Barry, who was at the counter, knew what the stranger was doing, and he chose to do nothing. This stranger sold a pair of Nike shoes worth 800 to the customer. Customer pays 800 ringgit to the stranger. Okay, paid cash 800 ringgit to the stranger. Stranger took the money and ran away. Okay, now advise Barry whether he's bound to honor the contract for the sale of shoes to the customer. What do you think? So over here, do you understand the facts? Okay, Barry owns a shop. A stranger enters his shop. Barry doesn't know who he is. This person doesn't work for Barry. This person starts advising the customers what to buy and what not to buy from Barry's shop. And then he sells a shoe worth 800 ringgit to the customer. The customer pays money. He takes the money and runs away. Now the customer is still in the shop. Should Barry give the shoe to the customer? Yes or no? Over here the answer is yes. Why yes? Because since Barry knew what the stranger was doing and Barry did not chase the stranger away, this goes to show the stranger becomes Barry's agent by which one? Estopel under section 190. Alright? And therefore, Barry must honor the transaction. So as far as the shoe is concerned, give it to the customer. As far as the money is concerned, go after the stranger. You cannot find the stranger, that's your problem. Okay? You understand? So anyway, if you want a simple answer, okay, this is a simple answer. Is Barry bound by contract for the sale of Nike shoes? Under law application, you can say on the facts, the stranger does not work for Barry. As such, he cannot sell anything from the shop to anyone. However, Barry knew what the stranger was doing and chose to do nothing. As such, agency by estoppel might be created here. Section 190 says that. The fact that Barry chose not to chase him away shows that he may have condoned what the person did. Okay, the stranger may have become Barry's agent by estoppel when he sold the shoes to the customer. Thus, there is a contract for the sale of shoes between the Brian and the customer. Conclusion, Barry must honor the transaction. Okay? Okay, with this, we have finished with agency. All right, so now let's look at. Let's look at. Let's see, just a second. All right, let's look at SOGA. Okay, where are we currently? Okay. This morning, okay, we did free consent first. We did free consent. And where free consent is concerned, there is one problem question and one essay. Then we did discharge of contract. Discharge of contract, okay, there is one problem question. Okay, then we did agency. Agency, there is one essay question and there is one problem question. Okay, now we look at SOGA. Sale of Goods Act 1957, in short we call it SOGA. And so where SOGA is concerned, there will be one problem question in the exam. One problem question. So once you have done with this, in other words, you already covered all problem questions. Alright, so problem questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, these are the 4 problem questions. Okay, take note of it. Okay, now remember, okay, in relation to Sale of Goods Act 1957, all the important sections will be given to you in the exam. Alright, so you don't need to memorize any particular sections. All the important sections of the law will be given to you in the exam. Okay? Now, the first thing I want you to know over here is, when is this law applicable? When is this law applicable? Please take note, this law is only applicable if the goods you buy, these goods falls within the Section 2 definition of goods. This law only applies if the goods you buy, these goods falls within Section 2 definition of goods. Now, what do you mean by Section 2 definition of goods? Section 2 means, the Section 2 states that goods for the purpose of this law refers to anything which is movable, anything which you can move. For example, now, this handphone you can move, this pen you can move, this mouse you can move, this table you can move, this chair you can move. So in other words, the law applies to all of this. But this building, can you move this building? No. So SOGA doesn't apply to this building. Other than actionable claims, this law doesn't apply to actionable claims. Now, actionable claims are like copyright, trademark, right under contract. Okay, so this actual claims means like copyright, trademark, right under contract. All of this, SOGA doesn't apply. SOGA doesn't apply to money also. So in other words, you cannot use money to buy money. If you use money to buy money, SOGA doesn't apply. SOGA doesn't apply to a transaction where you use money to buy money. Now, do you all know when do you use money to buy money? When do you use money to buy money? When you buy foreign currency. When you buy foreign currency. Okay? Stocks and shares, yes, SOGA applies. Now, growing crops are like paddy, corn, wheat. All these are growing crops. Okay? Grass. Anything which you attach to or form part of the land, which you agree to sever. Sever means remove. Before a sale or under sale contract, SOGA will apply. So what does that mean? SOGA applies to anything which is movable. Anything which is movable. Okay? Okay, next, for SOGA to apply, Section 4, subsection 1 must also be applicable. Now, Section 4, subsection 1 says, for SOGA to be applicable, title, ownership, and property must be transferred to the buyer. What does that mean? Now, for the sake of simplicity, we assume the word title, the word ownership, the word property means the same. So what does that mean? If I'm selling something to you, before I sell something to you, I must be the owner. After I sold to you, you should become the owner. Alright? And whatever you bought, you must have bought using cash, money. So in other words, this law doesn't apply to barter trade. This law doesn't apply to barter trade. You know what's barter trade, right? Barter trade is a situation where I give you a pen, you give me a pencil. That's a barter trade. That means a transaction that doesn't involve money, or it only involves part money. Okay? So for SOGA to apply, one of it must be 100% money. Okay? Okay, now once SOGA is applicable, okay, the following terms will be automatically added into the contract. The first one is Section 14. Section 14 talks about three things. Number one, right to sell. In a sale of goods transaction, the seller must have a right to sell. Now, when do you have a right to sell? You have a right to sell something if something belongs to you. You have a right to sell something if something belongs to you. Alright? Or you have permission to sell something on somebody's behalf. So in other words, stolen goods cannot be sold under SOGA. Section 14 says that. Number two, the buyer has a right to enjoy quiet possession. Quiet possession means nobody can disturb him. Nobody can disturb him. Once you buy something under SOGA, you have a right to enjoy the goods without any interruption. Nobody can disturb you. Nobody can come and claim that whatever you bought belongs to them. Okay? And number three, the goods must be free from encumbrances. Example of encumbrances over here would be like taxation. Or import duty. If the goods are subjected to any taxation, then the buyer must settle the taxation before he gives the goods to the buyer. If he wants the buyer to pay the taxation, he must tell the buyer about it. Alright? So whatever goods which are given to the buyer, it must be free from any form of encumbrances. If there's any tax which is due, the seller must settle it. Okay? Next, section 15 talks about sale by description. Now please take note, a lot of transactions nowadays are by description. Sometimes the goods could be described to you orally. Sometimes the goods could be described to you on the label itself. If you're buying something online, okay, the goods could be described, okay, in the website itself. So if you look at this water over here, this water container over here, what does it say? It contains 350 ml. This bottle says that it contains 350 ml. So over here, okay, this bottle has been described as containing 350 ml water. If you buy it, it must contain 350 ml. If it contains less, then section 15 has been breached. Alright? Just for information, these two are warranties. These two are warranties. The rest are conditions. The rest are conditions. Alright, so these two over here are warranties, the rest are conditions. Okay? Now, next, section 15 also says, sometimes the goods could be described to you and a sample is shown. Sometimes when you go to a shop, they may describe the goods to you. At the same time also they may show you a sample. If that's the case, then the goods must be exactly like how it has been described and it must be exactly the same as the sample. Okay? Okay, next, section 16. 16.1a talks about fit for purpose. Now please take note, if the buyer tells the seller the purpose for which he wants to buy the goods, and the buyer relies on the seller's skills and judgment, and the seller sells the goods in the usual course of business, then whatever goods the buyer buys, it must fit the purpose. It must fit the purpose. So fit for purpose here means this is a situation where the buyer tells the seller the purpose for which he wants to buy the goods. Then the goods the buyer buys, it must fit their purpose. Merchantable quality means good quality. Good quality. Now please take note, whatever goods you buy under SOGA, it must be of good quality. It must be of good quality. Okay? And the last one over here is section 17. Section 17 talks about sale by sample. Now section 17 2A says, okay, if it is sale by sample, then whatever you buy, it must be exactly the same as the sample. So assuming, okay, you want to buy 100 pens. Assuming you buy 100 pens, and I show you a sample of a pen. I show you a sample of the pen. And you agree to buy 100 pens based on this sample. Then whatever goods which are delivered to you, it must be exactly the same as the sample. Okay? Section 17 says that. So these are the implied terms. These are the implied terms. Okay? Okay, now the next one over here is the Nemo-Dead rule. According to the Nemo-Dead rule, it says that if you don't have title, then you cannot transfer title to somebody else. What does that mean? It means if something does not belong to you, if something doesn't belong to you, then you cannot sell the goods to other people. Okay? But this law has a few exceptions. And these are the 6 exceptions. Alright? Estopel, no need, you can just ignore this. Sale of Mercantile agent, also you can ignore this. Okay? Now, sale by one of the joint sellers. Now I see what if A, B, and C, they shared money and bought a PlayStation 5. A, B, and C, they got together and they bought a PlayStation 5. According to the arrangement, they are supposed to take turns to keep and use the PlayStation. Okay, they are joint owners. What if it was C's turn to keep and use the PlayStation? What if C sold the PlayStation to E without the permission of A and B? The issue here is, who is the owner of the PlayStation now? Now, when this is concerned, you can refer to section 28, which says that, okay, E will become the owner of the PlayStation, provided, okay, the person who sold the PlayStation to E, he must be one of the co-owners. And he must be keeping the PlayStation with the permission of A and B. And E must be a bona fide purchaser. Bona fide purchaser here means he must be an innocent purchaser. He must be an innocent purchaser who did not know that the PlayStation belongs to other people also. If these 3 conditions are fulfilled, then E will become the new owner of the PlayStation. Okay? Section 29, no need to know. And section 30, subsection 1, talks about a situation where, what if the seller sold something to buyer number 1? And the buyer number 1 is the owner of the goods. Okay, the goods are still in possession of the seller. The seller is still in possession of it. And the seller sells the same thing to buyer number 2. The issue here is, who is the owner of the goods now? That means the same thing has been sold to 2 different people. Now please take note, according to section 30 subsection 1, according to section 30 subsection 1, it says that the second buyer will be the new owner, provided he is an innocent purchaser. The second buyer will be the owner, provided he is the innocent purchaser. Okay? And the last one over here is sale by buyer in possession under section 30 subsection 2. Now this is a situation where, okay, the seller sells something to buyer number 1. Okay, but the seller is still the owner of the goods. Okay, but the buyer number 1 is in possession of the goods. That means the goods have been delivered to buyer number 1. But the seller is still the owner of the goods. But the buyer number 1, he sell off the goods to buyer number 2 without the knowledge of the seller. The issue here is, who is the owner of the goods? Please take note, the second buyer is the owner, provided he is a bona fide purchaser. The second buyer, okay, he is the owner, provided he is an innocent purchaser. Are you okay with this? So in relation to SOGA, you only need to know this much. In relation to SOGA, you only need to know this much, nothing beyond this. Okay? Are you okay with this? Alright, now here are 5 questions, okay, in the area of SOGA. I want you to read through the question, try to understand, and we'll do it together in about 10 minutes time. So you can, if you want, you can take a short break, at the same time also read through the questions. And we'll do it together at 2:05. Alright, so I'll give you 10 minutes to read through the questions. Thank you. Okay, if you're ready, shall we start? Ali, Ahmad, and Sam, they shared money and bought a PlayStation 3 for 1,500. Each of them took turns to keep the PlayStation for a week. While it was with Sam, okay, Sam sold the PlayStation, okay, to James for 1,550 without the knowledge of Ali and Ahmad. Now Ali and Ahmad are aware of the sale and want the PlayStation back, but James is refusing to return it. Advise Ali and Ahmad. In this situation over here, who is the owner of the PlayStation? Now please take note, the PlayStation belongs to 3 people. It doesn't belong to Sam alone. So according to Nemo-Dad rule, which is stated in section 27, it says that Sam cannot sell the PlayStation to James. He cannot sell the PlayStation to James because the PlayStation belongs to 2 other people as well. Okay? Now, but this law has a few exceptions. In certain situations, okay, James can become the owner of the PlayStation, provided which section applies. Which is the relevant section? Section 20? Section 28. Section 28 says what? Section 28 says, Section 28 is one of the exceptions to the Nemo-Dad rule. According to Section 28, it says that James will become the owner of the PlayStation provided 3 conditions are fulfilled. Condition number 1, Sam must be one of the co-owners of the PlayStation. Condition number 2, Sam must be keeping the PlayStation with the permission of Ali and Ahmad. And condition number 3, James must be a bona fide purchaser. Bona fide purchaser means innocent purchaser who did not know then a PlayStation belongs to other people as well. So if these three conditions are fulfilled, then James will become the owner. If they're not fulfilled, then James will not become the owner. Alright? Or the facts are not clear enough, so you cannot actually come up with a proper conclusion. Okay? So anyhow, if you want a simple answer, this is a simple answer. The issue here is who gets a better title for the PlayStation. On the facts, okay, Sam is not the only owner of the PlayStation. It is co-owned by him, Ahmad and Ali. Sam sold it without the permission of Ali and Ahmad. Okay, he cannot do so. This is because according to that rule, no one can give away what he or she does not have. Section 27 says that. However, there are a few exceptions to this rule. One of it is set in section 28. Okay? What do they call that? According to section 28, it says that James will become the owner provided three conditions are fulfilled. Sam must be one of the co-owners. Sam must be keeping the PlayStation with the permission of Ali and Ahmad. And James must be a bona fide purchaser. So as long as these three conditions are fulfilled, okay, James will become the owner. Alright? Are you okay with this? Are there any questions? Okay? Okay, now let's look at the next question. After Muthu has bought the last Swatch watch, okay, from Mimi's shop, that means the shop sold a watch to Muthu, and since Muthu has paid for it, Muthu is the owner of the watch, but the shop is still in possession of the watch. Okay? Okay? Mimi's assistant, who is unaware of the sale, at the same time, when Muthu was looking somewhere else, okay, accidentally sold the same watch to Sam, who bought it, and left the shop. So in other words, the shop, they sold the watch to Muthu, Muthu became the owner, and they accidentally sold the same watch to Sam. Sam paid for it and went away. The issue here is the same watch has been sold to two different people. Who is the actual owner of the watch now? Sam or Muthu? Now, when this is concerned, okay, please take note, section 27 says, okay, the shop cannot sell the watch to Sam. Why? Because the shop is not the owner of the watch. Muthu is. However, there are a few exceptions to this rule. The relevant one over here is sale by seller in possession. Section 30, subsection 1 says, okay, Sam will become the owner of the watch provided he's a bona fide purchaser. Bona fide purchaser here means he's an innocent purchaser who did not know the watch has been sold to someone else. So please take note, the only way how Sam can become the owner of the watch is if it can be proven that he's a bona fide purchaser. Okay? Okay, anyhow, if you want a simple answer, this is a simple answer. Now the issue here is who gets a better title. On the facts, Muthu purchased the watch and paid for it. Thus the title is with him. The shop sold the watch without Muthu's permission to Sam. The shop cannot do so because according to that rule, no one can give away he or she does not have. Section 27 says that. The relevant exception to this rule is stated in section 30, subsection 1, which says that Sam will become the owner provided he is a bona fide purchaser. Thus, the only way how Sam can become the owner is if section 30, subsection 1 is fulfilled. Conclusion, Sam will become the owner provided section 30, subsection 1 is fulfilled. Okay? Okay, next. Question number 3. Question number 3. Please read through. Emily purchased a blender online. Anna, the seller, described it as can be used for all purposes. Alright? So in other words, the blender stated it can be used for all purposes. So in other words, the blender has been described as can be used for all purposes. Emily paid for it cash and was not happy because it cannot be used to blend ice. Which section under SOGA has been breached? Which one? 14, 15, 16 or 17? 15. What does section 15 say? Okay, it talks about sale by description. What does it say? It says that if the goods have been described to the buyer, then the goods must be exactly like how it has been described. Okay? So over here, the goods were described as being can be used for all purposes. But the blender cannot be used to blend ice. That means section 15 has been breached. It's a breach of condition. Okay? Alright, so if you want a simple answer, this is the answer. What you can say here is which implied term has been breached? Under law application, you can say on the facts, this is a sale was by description. Sorry, the word was shouldn't be here. The word was shouldn't be here. You can just delete this. Alright? Okay. On the facts, this is a sale by description because Emily bought the blender based on how it has been described online. Thus, section 15 says that the goods must correspond with the description. Section 15 implies that in every contract for the sale of goods, there is a condition that the goods supplied must correspond with the description. On the facts, the blender does not correspond with the description as it cannot blend ice. Okay? It was described as being able to blend everything. Therefore, section 15 has been breached. This is a breach of condition. Okay? Are you okay with this? Okay? Okay, now next, look at question number 4. Rishi bought a Samsung brand washing machine from a hypermarket. The hypermarket is a self-service retail outlet. Last week, Rishi came to the hypermarket and claimed that the washing machine was defective as it caused damage to the clothes. Advise Rishi based on Sale of Goods Act 1957. Now, since the washing machine damaged clothes, okay, you can say that section 16(1)(b) has been breached. Okay, section 15 subsection 1b talks about merchantable quality. Now, to see whether section 15(1)(b) is applicable or not, number 1, washing machine. Washing machine, does it fall within the definition of goods? Does it fall within the section 2 definition of goods? The answer is yes. Why? It is movable. And you can say that section 4(1) is also applicable. That's also important. Now, for section 16(1)(b) to apply, 3 conditions must be fulfilled. Number 1, it must be sealed by description on the facts. Yes, all sale in a retail outlet is by description. Number 2, sold by somebody who sell the goods in the usual course of business. Okay, hypermarket, they do sell washing machines. And condition number 3, okay, Rishi did not examine the goods. Even if it did, the defect must not be something which is very, very apparent. Now, this defect, it causes damage to the clothes. So when this defect is concerned, no matter how much, okay, Rishi would have checked the washing machine, he will never know about the defect. Because the defect is, it causes damage to the clothes. This is one defect you can never know unless you buy and use the washing machine. And nobody allows you to use the washing machine before you buy. Okay? So since all 3 conditions are fulfilled, this washing machine must be of merchantable quality, and since it is not, 16(1)(b) has been breached. Okay? So anyway, if you want a simple answer, okay, this is the answer. The issue here is, can Rishi bring an action under SOGA against the hypermarket? You can say that SOGA is applicable in this case since the washing machine falls within the definition of goods under section 2 and section 4(1) may be applicable. Therefore, 14 to 17 is implied into the contract. 16(1)(b) says this washing machine must be of merchantable quality. Alright? And for 16(1)(b) to apply, 3 conditions must be fulfilled. Number 1, it must be sealed by description, the facts yes. It must be sold by somebody who sell this kind of goods in the usual business. This condition is fulfilled. Thus, 16(1)(b) is applicable, and since the washing machine is defective, it is not of merchantable quality. 16(1)(b) has been breached. This is a breach of condition. Conclusion, 16(1)(b) has been breached. Okay? Okay, if you're done with this, let's look at the last question for today. Read through. Peter was walking along a street. He came across a restaurant that sells crabs. He immediately went to the shop and asked for fresh crabs. That means, over here, the buyer told the seller what he wants. Alright, in other words, he told the purpose. That means he told us, the buyer told the seller what he wants. Okay, he told the purpose. Alright? Now, he was served with 2 steamed crabs which smelled odd and tasted bad. Alright? He became ill. Which section has been breached? So over here, since the buyer told the seller what he wanted fresh crabs. But he was given crabs which smelled odd and tasted bad. That means the crabs were not what he wanted. He wanted fresh crabs. He was given crabs which were not fresh. Therefore, 16(1)(a) has been breached. And this is a breach of condition. Okay? So if you want a simple answer, this is a simple answer. The issue here is, can Peter bring an action under SOGA? The relevant provision is stated in 16.1a. Okay, over here, what you can say over here is, the restaurant may be liable as Peter has expressly made known the particular purpose of which the goods are required, and the goods were of the description which it was in the usual course of the restaurant's business to supply. There was therefore an implied condition: the goods must fit the purpose. He wanted fresh crabs, he should be given fresh crabs. And since he was not, 16.1a has been breached as a breach of condition. Okay? Are you okay with this? Are there any questions?